Good morning. The last thing I'd like to do with you in our little prerequisite chapter, our little review chapter, is talk about the best way to have your calculator set up so that things go well throughout the year. In the summer assignment, I noticed that many students seemed to know when they looked at a right triangle that they needed to use trig, SOHCAHTOA, but often got the wrong answer. And I really believe it's just a calculator setting. So have your nSpire handy, follow along. We'll get your nSpire all set up the way you want it to be, and then it should be good for the year. I'm going to have you do one practice problem on Math Excel, maybe, and depending on how long the video takes, and then be done. And then we'll do problems in class with the appropriate nSpire settings. So here I am on my home screen of my nSpire, and if you come over on the right hand side and choose Settings, you can either click on it or choose the 5 on your keypad. There are a lot of things you can do. Please don't change the language. I don't speak another language other than English. But the first thing we want to do is go to Document Settings. Display digits are fine, but notice this angle starts out in radians. If yours is in radians, you want to click over here and change it to degrees. Everything else is good. We have normal exponents. We like real numbers, not complex right now. And everything else makes sense for us. So let's choose make that default. And then every time you turn your calculator on, it'll stay in degrees mode. And yes, okay, you do want to apply those settings. Now let's go back to, that was document settings. Let's go to handheld setup. This sets up the way your nSpire behaves. And this is where you can have your nSpire stop making you if it seems to be turning off a lot or falling asleep a lot. So here's what I suggest. I suggest you take power standby and change that to a minimum of 10 minutes. If you're really working for a long time on an assignment, you might even want to change that to 30, but 10 seems to be pretty good. And hibernate, we say never. The hibernate thing is when you turn your nSpire on and it has to restart and it has to go through the operating system setup. You don't want that to happen. It should only happen when we get you in and out of test mode, or if we have to update operating systems and stuff. And it's annoying because it takes a while, especially at the start of class when you're trying to get logged in. So if you choose hibernate never, you're in good shape. Pointer speed, I leave it normal. It can be changed. That's, you know, your touchpad, how your mouse moves. So I'm going to leave that at normal. And auto dim is, you may not have this. This could just be for the color nSpires, but it makes it fade. It's kind of a power saver thing. I've not had a problem with that. I think 90 seconds might be okay, or maybe even move that to 2 minutes. We'll come down here, and for whatever reason I can't click OK, but you should be able to on yours. Sometimes the software acts different than the handheld. If you go back to settings, status, just nothing exciting. If you were connected to the network, you could change that. Then there's your login stuff in your network. So if you've changed your handheld setup and your document settings, you should be in good shape. Here's a quick check for that. Come over here to a scratch pad or a calculator page, but you don't need it, and go to trig, choose sign, and type 30. The sign of 30 is 1/2. You should get a 0.5. I know I'm in degrees mode. And that's my quick check all the time. If I don't feel like going back through the settings, I say sign 30, get 0.5, boom, I know for sure I'm done. Another way of checking is to come up here, and it says my angle is in degrees mode when you hover over the battery symbol. And okay, there's one other thing we need to look at, and that is the graph settings. If you are in your scratch pad and you click on your graph, or just click on the scratch pad button again, it moves you to the graph. And when you hover near the battery, it says your graph angle is in radians. Again, we want to be consistent, and we want to always be in degrees unless you're told otherwise. So what you need to do here is go to your menu button and push it. And there are special settings for graphs. So you come down to choice 8, settings, and notice that the graphing angle is in radians still. We want to change that to degrees. So now both your graphing angle and your geometry angle, your pictures of triangles, are in degrees. And that should be good. Let's make it default. Yes, we're sure. We want to apply those settings. And now you're in great shape. Hover near the battery and you're all set. That's it. Last video of the week. Have a great weekend.